Maxim pressed the red button.
Actually, a blue button and a red one to stop it.
No, not twice, only once.
We're live, Amir. We're live.
Cool. Are we live? I don't see us being live, but yeah, I trust you. When they say we are live, we are live. Cool. Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to one of the other session of the series of our vvvv worldwide meetup. We are doing this meetup since beginning of the pandemic, if you remember what that is. Since the last time we had the meetup last year, so many things has happened. One of which was basically a new year. So happy 2023 to everyone. I hope you're having a good and fun new year so far. But before the new year happens, something else has happened, which is making me, myself, particularly very honored to be the host of this very meetup, which is, by the way, the 20th meetup. Last year in December, shortly before Christmas, our beloved vvvv became 20 years old. So happy birthday to vvvv. On behalf of the community, I would congratulate the developers for developing this great quad over 20 years now. And on behalf of the developers, I thank community for surfing this gray area for over 20 years and trusting each other. So yeah, it's also very fun to say things from one side to the other side. I'm also having a lot of fun in the middle. In general, I'm pleased to be here. Tonight is going to be one of those very good lineups. I'm very lucky to see all these names and all these people who are going to show us what they are doing and what they have been up to for the this recent time. Before going so far and starting the round, I wanted to check if everybody who is watching us online somewhere are aware of the fact that if they want to join the call, they could go to the element chat of vvvv. If you're one of the community members, you know what do I mean by vvvv chat. Or you could go to the visualprogramming.net and check the blog entry of the 20th vvvv worldwide meetup. Also, you can check vnodeinstitute.org, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and then there is also the announcement. In all of those pages, you can find the link for the Zoom call. Do not forget, if you want to join the call, put your name plus vvvv so we know you are a real human and we let you in. Cool. All right, I think we could just start off right now. And before I ask the first person to present, I would like to ask every single of you who are here in the Zoom call, please give me a tiny bit of information about yourself, like maybe 1 or 2 lines. What's your name and what you are going to show? So everybody who's also watching us online, they have like sort of a teaser and sort of a trailer that they know what is going to happen in the course of this meetup. Who should be a start? From my top left layout on my Zoom, I see Alekei. Alekei, could you tell us what are you going to show? Very quick.
Yeah, I think so. My name is Alekei, and I will show you my project related to VV and contemporary dancers. It will be, I think, 3 projects, but if I have plenty of time, but if not, maybe later I can speak another.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Next person is Chris from my side. Chris, what's up? What did you bring us this time?
Yeah, bring you some news of the recent Fuse development. So a lot of stuff. For a while, it was a bit quiet. Yeah, but try to pick up like last year. A lot of new stuff on the way and try to give a summary of what has happened so far.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. Yeah, I was thinking that there should be something from Fuse team. That is amazing to have you here. The next is the Node Institute. All the crew in Berlin, all the cool kids are gathering at the table. Are you guys going to show something? Or you're just vibing around with us?
No, there's not really a lot. I mean, I can show you what I did between the years, you know, like gambling around, but there's no official vvvv dev presentation. No.
Yeah, it's always like you have the devs, like the cool kids sitting in the back. If something goes wrong, they jump in. Very good sound, by the way. Thank you so much. It's such a good improvement since the last year. Next person, Noor. What do you have for us today?
I thought to show the 3 projects I've been working on during 2022, all with VVV. Think of robots, mushrooms, algae, and later more.
Amazing. Cool. Next person, Natan. What's up? Is it the Fuse related or is it Kairos related?
Kairos.
Kairos.
Just a small update about Kairos.
Amazing. Looking very much forward. And then I have Toby.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to show about this audio related contribution that just went live.
Oh yeah, true. Amazing. Yeah, that's actually a good time to see how it actually works. I didn't have time to check it out yet. And I also see Sune. Hey Sune, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Hi, good to see you.
I just joined the Zoom chat because the YouTube was annoying, so I don't really have anything to present today.
It's amazing to have you here. Thank you very much. Cool.
You're welcome.
If as I said again, in the meantime, if you're watching us somewhere, feel free to join to the chat. Don't forget to put your name plus vvvv. And without further ado, I would like to ask Toby, as the first presenter, show us the magic and how things are working.
Okay, thanks very much. So hi, treasured colleagues. Thank you for your time. I just want to take a few minutes to present a new contribution that's gone live a few minutes ago. And sorry I can't join you in person, those in Berlin. We're isolating here in the house. So this is VL.GameAudioPlayer. It's called GameAudioPlayer because it manages categories of audio playback inspired by the way it's done in video games users are very familiar with. I've got this sound effects, and they've got a volume control, and music has a volume control, and dialogue has a volume control. But I found that a pretty useful way to just think about slightly different requirements I want when I'm playing sound. And I made this because usually on projects, I know sound has a huge impact and I leave it till later in the project. And then I find the technical implementation is always just a bit trickier than I expected. It's not that hard to just get an instance of an audio player going, but then if you actually, for example, you want to play some UI sound, but you actually put your audio player instance in the UI process, then maybe, yeah, you're gonna do something like leave the instance running the whole app when it shouldn't, or something like that. And also, yeah, I always run into problems with like audio blocking the main thread while it loads. So VL.GameAudioPlayer is meant to be some tools for solving those problems. And the next time I get to this stage on a project, I can focus more on the content and implementation and less on the technical stuff. So I won't go through everything. I'll just show a couple of the help patches. Basically, it's command-based. So in your logic, so in your UI thread or whatever, you just have some nodes like play sound effects or play music. I've done these observable-based ones, but you can use any observable if you want to do a more advanced architecture. You just have one observable that's accessed in all these processes you can. And then, yeah, basically that fires off the audio. Are you guys hearing that?
Yep.
Great. And you can play some music, play some sound effects. Theoretically, you could play dialogue as well. That's working, except I don't have a use case for it right now. So if somebody does have a use case for dialogue coming up, maybe we could talk and contribute something here, because I think it probably has some unique requirements I'm not appreciating because I don't have a use case right now. The actual playing is all taken care of by this node game audio host, this process. It runs players. You can specify a max amount of players of the different categories, and it will take care of creating the players, disposing the players, and loading the media async to your main thread. The second feature is for working with composers or working with yourself if you're the composer. So you can just drop files into an audio folder and it'll scan them and you can use them. That's the quick way to do it. But sometimes you want to be able to exchange a little more data. So basically this is Google Sheets, but you could use any spreadsheet program. You can export, if you export a TSV file, like comma separated value, tab separated value, just in case. I didn't go with commas because commas in some localizations are used as the decimal point, of course. So the, although I think CSV handles escaping those, but I didn't want to then get a CSV import library. I just wanted to write and have this rely on another library. I just wanted it to like do a dirty quick implementation to import the data here. So the features this spreadsheet enables is things like you can use one long file. All my sound effects are combined into one file. And then I'm just telling this based on the same data in the music program, what parts of the file are the individual media I want to use, sound effect 1, sound effect 2, etc. That's quite useful as a composer because it's in most audio programs, it's a pain in the ass to export 15 different or 60 different files. And it's much easier if you want to do things like go back and like remaster all the levels, normalize it, adjust things in relation to each other if you can just export one track again. The other handy thing you can do is take the data from your music program to set up musical phrases from a single track. So here in Ableton, if you're familiar with it, I can set up sections of the song. For example, this is the main groove. And basically, if I take that same data here, so that starts at, whoops, set the BPM in that spreadsheet, 120 BPM, and say, okay, that starts at bar 27, goes to bar 35. You can just read that off there, put it in here, and then that main groove is accessible as a loop. And it can also play them in sequence, the same as the sound of Ableton session view. So it's playing the beat, and I can hit play anytime on the second beat, and it'll go to it in the right timing. And it also has a feature where you can specify the amount of bars that it's a complete musical phrase, so it doesn't exit too early when it takes 4 bars to play out a particular phrase. And then I've made it so it's, it makes a lot of, you can override all the defaults, but it has a lot of defaults about how you'd play music. So if I then play on top of one of these music from a different file, it's going to fade that out and do an audio crossfade instead of attempting to play that next. Basically, this is meant to reduce the complexity of your logic that triggers audio. It doesn't have to know any state about what's currently playing. It can just say, this music is what should be playing now. And it has the smarts to work out a transition to get there, either playing next or crossfading. Last feature I want to show quickly is more on the visual side. So for me personally, I think one of the most effective visualizations of sound is actually just dropping something on the first beat of a bar. And because this system knows about, once you've set it up, knows about BPM and bars and things, you can access that data for visualization as well. So that's pretty simple, obviously, but I think, yeah, sometimes that is the right tool for the job when it comes to visualization. I should also mention some limitations. So this is strictly for playback. On the default audio device, it uses this SFML library underneath. It doesn't do many, and it's not meant to do the same things as VL audio. So it doesn't do live inputs, it doesn't do recording, it doesn't do real-time effects or FFT, it doesn't do ASIO devices. But what it does potentially do, although I haven't got the time or equipment to test it, it might export to cross-platform, which could be interesting in future. And it doesn't do sync with video, but of course, probably better to use a player that is a video and audio player. And that's it, available now. I just posted in the forum. Hope it makes someone's life easier. Any questions?
Wow, that was that was a big thing that actually was thinking of always not going to the complexity of different libraries and packages, that you wrapped it up very well, that think about it as if it's a game that you want to play some soundtracks or some audio effects in different parts. Like I can think of, like, top of my head, lots of opportunities and potentials to use this package. Thank you so much for having it. And I noticed on the nugget.org, it was like, this package is basically 1 hour old, like 1 hour old. So it's like you just pushed it like an hour ago or something, right?
Yes, I mean, just having a few glitches. I hope to get it out on the last weekend, but yeah, having some problem, and I like just lots of things to test. It's like, what if my sound card is 48 kilohertz and it's playing 44 100? kilohertz sound, and there's just a few more things like that I wanted to test. But most of it's been done for a while.
Wow, amazing, amazing.
Congratulations. I totally appreciate also the effort of making a library, really, like, with the patches and with the final use case in mind, the final user. So it's not a deal. It's really making tools is a different thing than just finding a solution for your specific use scenario. So, bravo.
That is great. So if you have or if you have seen the videos that Toby is making, like sort of these tutorials, these use cases of some areas of V4 that they're a little, like intermediate or a bit over beginner, those videos, is there something else coming up? Do you have something else that you're waiting for on your YouTube channel?
I have some wishes, but I think sadly I won't have time to do much more on that for a little while.
Yeah.
But if I was going to do the next one, I would really like to do a close look at type flexibility, all the different kinds of type flexibility. So you have adaptives, generics, casting interfaces, and all that sort of stuff. That would be the next topic if I had time. Hopefully a bit later in the year.
Thank you very much. Looking very much forward to that. I don't want to keep you here for long. I just want to say I really appreciate the way that you explain things, and they are always, your contributions are super clean and explanatory. And I really personally appreciate that one very much. And also for the others, please do test and report if you have different sound settings. That would be something that you could report to Toby. Toby, if you check the element, Elias has something for you that you can check out there as well. But thank you very much. If there is no other question, I thank you again, and looking very much forward to play around with your good stuff coming towards the community.
No worries. Thanks for your kind words, and thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you. Okay, so who do we have next in my list? What I see there, could we ask, actually, we would like to ask Natan, if you would like to go ahead and tell us this little, you always say a little update, and then you come up with like a huge amount of information.
No. It's just really a quick update, just to tell what happened since Christmas. So the Kairos team had a meeting already, like 10 days ago, just to summarize the development and check the current state. And so we have the different branches in the development. So we have Sebeskudi is already working on VL.Touchy, the multi-touch interactive library, and he's working on the marquee selection, which is obviously as a key feature for any tool. Then we have the Bindex team, which is Sebastian, Sable, and also Randall probably will join. And they're gonna take care of the Bindex part of the library. What else? Many things happen. Mainly, I just personally continue to work on the UI. As you know, since the last time in October, November, there were mainly me and Lazal working on defining some of the language of the UI, and now it's not that feasible because we have just the timeline. But once we'll implement other kind of Kairos tool, you will see the similarities and the common language somehow that is behind this Kairos word. So I think that part we managed to address it quite nicely. So now it's about implementing things, and I continued in that regard. Mainly also I want to thank all the users for the feedback that they gave, and I can show my screen. just to show you what I've been doing. So yes, this is the current state of the timeline, which already looks better than before. You see a play ahead here, and which is connected to our clock up here. We can also scroll. You have the output here of the track. So, you know, basic things that you would expect. You can still move around the things. You can remove keyframes. You see that the title of the input pin, which is connected to the region and to the dynamic keyframes. To somehow, it's a step forward, like in simplifying and helping the final user to in tracking the input pins in the patch. What else? Bit optimization. Well, yes, we can create new pins, but just by double clicking, and they basically get created by sampling the track in that position, which is quite convenient. So just to allow you to easily freeze also the state in a certain position eventually. What else? Elias just implemented a really cool attribute that we can use to augment the models of the timeline and all the Kairos elements, which allows us to, in the end, to clean up a bit the inspector and to remove things that we don't want to see, like the ID. And eventually, yeah, we'll implement other attributes to allow to sort the features and the properties. So yeah, to increase a bit also readability. Yes, so it's proceeding. The main, which is probably a bit hidden here, is not really visible, but the main point was really to get the timer right. As you see, now we can sample. We have this composition with the sampler, which is the node that connects to a composition, in this case a timeline, and sample it. And we are not providing anymore simply like a position, sampling position, but we provide a clock. And now this is also what I did. Actually, let me check. Yeah, I created this Kairos clock. I think I also I passed for that. Simple, but just to show you that this is a proper clock class, and with all the logic that we expect. This is a starting point that we can extend, but this is also the entry point, in the sense that from here we can send time codes outside before, and we can also receive and synchronize this clock to input times that comes from other software. So, but it was important to have this in place, and also the time management it was very crucial. And now you don't see, but imagine having a nested graph of compositions, like a timeline inside another timeline, whatever. It's important, it's crucial to keep track of all the shifts in time, so that when you edit one of the children timelines, you can still refer and operate on the parent clock, keeping all the shifts. So it's not trivial as it might seem at the beginning. So now you see, for example, I'm editing from the timeline, I'm moving around the time, and you see I'm changing the time of this class, of this Kairos clock. So from basically from the UI. So yeah, this now it's properly done, and I'm kind of happy with it. So it's something that it will show when we start to create more complex graphs. So yeah, what next? Basically, I'm as I said, Code is working on the marking selection, which we will incorporate immediately here, so that we will be able to select multiple elements and eventually edit them, having this new editing framework in the end, which is VL.Touch. Then what else? Many things that you would expect, like another big topic that we touched at the last development session, development call, is Bezier. Bezier curves. And again, it's one of those topics that once you enter in it, you discover that it's a huge world. And we are already working on it. Sebastian is already putting his head and finding solutions and all different case scenarios. So again, Kairos will be able to offer way more than what we expected at the beginning in terms of Bezier editors, because yeah, there are different kinds of Beziers and different kinds of user scenarios that, yeah. So very, very exciting also, that part. And will come very soon, at least the basic implementation of Bezier. So I think we are on time, on schedule. If I think to the crazy roadmap that I had that I sketched and set and sold at the Christmas party, but apparently we are on time, and I think that by the end of this month we can have all these features implemented.
Yeah, so I just want to say one thing. Those people who haven't seen the video of the so-called Christmas party, which was the release for the New Year's and the Christmas release of Kairos, it is on YouTube. Maybe Natan, could you please afterwards drop the link on the YouTube chat so we could also direct people to that direction? And well, that's actually what I see here is that shouldn't be the release that we saw on the video. That should be a newer release, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I will just push this one as well now, so people can constantly like test and give feedback. I already fixed some stuff like, you know, keyframes going outside the range and getting lost and not editable anymore. So this kind of stuff is fixed. So I'll push this one and yeah, just accept feedback to help continuing the development.
Amazing. Really, really impressive stuff, Natan, and all the team behind Kairos. They are doing a great job. Natan, you're getting some love and flavor and stuff on the YouTube. I mean, you get used to it, so you should just go and check out. Really good job. People, if you want to know more about Kairos, for those who maybe it's the first time that you're seeing this, you could check out the is it called Kairos Lab, if I'm not mistaken, Natan?
Yeah. Kairos Research Lab.
Kairos Research Lab. If you just type it on your browser, you will end up either on the GitHub or also on the crowdfunding. Am I saying it correct?
Open Collective page.
Open Collective, yeah. Open Collective channel there. Please do so and go and know more about what Kairos is and what can it do. And those who are actually working with Gamma, you could right now install the Nugget and try it out by yourself and see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Cool. Amazing job, Natan. You're getting it from someone called random like you on the YouTube. Is there any question? Is there any question from the internet or from the crowd in Berlin? I will take that as I see David has a.
I was muted. I just wanted to say, yeah, please go to GitHub and because there's also the possibility to just, if you're not a programmer or you don't want to, you know, go that deep into the details of building such a library, but you could join and discuss how things should behave. And yeah, it's just also interesting to us not to only get feedback like from the user point of view, but also how things should behave, like to specify or to think with us together what's the right solution, in which direction should we go when specifying a feature and then implementing it. It's always good to have it before actually doing it, already knowing what people want to have.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter which level you are. It doesn't need to be like a super programmer that knows all these details in the background. Your experience and your suggestions are always appreciated because it saves time and energy and it gives good perspective to the others. Thank you very much, Sebastian, for pointing this out. Natan, if you don't have any last word, I would maybe just to stay with us. Maybe something pops up, and then we have you to have you answered. And I would like to ask Noor if she's still with us. Do you hear me still? Are you still here, Noor? Yeah, there you are.
I'm
yes.
still here.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm still here. Do
Oh.
you hear me?
Yes.
Over?
Yeah, it's a little. Your microphone is a little breaking up, but
Okay.
yeah. Let's see. Maybe when you start talking, you'll be fine. Yeah, stage is yours. What did you bring for us? I would like to mute some people. I hear someone is not muted. Which is well, okay. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I will share my screen. Let me see. Do you see now a picture?
Yes. Perfect.
Yes. Great. All right. I have to pick my other screen. Very short, I'm Noor. I'm a media artist and I'm based in Linz in Austria. And I work mainly on performative spatial installations, often focusing on encounters between humans and non-humans. And I thought I showed the 3 projects I've done with vvvv in 2022. And this is the first one that you see. I don't know, do you see my mouse when I move over this gentleman's head?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah? Okay, lovely. This is zien, and that means in Dutch seeing. And this is a participatory art project that I created in the spring of 2022. I was artist in residence at the Ministry of Finance in the Netherlands, which is quite a sensitive place when it comes to the interaction between technology, especially AI and humans, or people, citizens of whichever country, I think in general. And this project took place in 5 days on the main square in front of the ministry, creating these encounters between the people from inside the ministry and the people from outside passing by through this robotic arm that was engraving their portraits. And we used vvvv basically to make the portraits and to translate them into these drawings, and also adding the background and then sending it to the robotic arm and the laser engraver to create these portraits. And yeah, we had basically sort of open atelier or an open studio on the square, because I was really focusing on this whole messiness of such a process, and also the messiness of working with technology, that it's not working and how you have to adjust. And yeah, so that I wanted to sort of demystify this whole process and this whole project, and also talking about how this basically human side or human interference constantly is needed when working with these kind of things. And in the end, that became this light installation in front of the ministry, and it is still there. If you're in the Netherlands, if you're in Den Haag, you can see it. The second project is Fading Colors. Fading Colors is an installation that is intertwining living algae and almost real-time data on coral bleaching. And basically in this partly interactive installation, the living conditions are influenced by this data because you have this website from NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, and they have a coral reef watch, which they use to observe and research coral reefs around the world. And they call it themselves almost real-time data on coral bleaching, is connected to these sculptures. And I worked basically together with the algae to show how the algae react normally within corals when bleaching happens, how they could mimic that in these sculptures. This is the website of NOAA, where you basically can see constantly how all the coral reefs are doing. And this is how we translate it into the screen behind the sculptures. So these are the sculptures that are there and that are connected to this data. And here people could rotate a rotary device to see the other coral reefs. And yeah, they could not change the state of the sculptures because the algae are living inside of these sculptures, and that would totally mess them up, of course, if people constantly are changing their environment. But they would basically show bleaching or clumping as when the corals are doing when they push out their algae and they are green and happy and healthy, and the corals are doing good. And then the last project was a 1-month research. It's called Zoe, and Zoe is a temporary coexistence between reishi mushrooms and a custom-made robotic system. And basically what we were exploring in this project was the possibility of an internal communication between a robotic system and the reishi. Reishi are mushrooms, and what we know so far is that mushrooms have this mycelium network, they're exchanging signals. And I did a project before with these signals, and yeah, we tried to see if there would be such a thing possible even. And here you see when we were still building up the robotic system or the custom made. So this is the air and the humidity, the light. Here you see the camera as one of the data collectors we have. You see here on the right, very small, the sensors that go into the mushrooms, temperature. These are, by the way, reishi. I thought you don't see them so proper on the pictures. These are the mushrooms we're talking about. And yeah, so if you sort of see the data flow, this is the data we collected, the humidity, the CO2, temperature, and the signals from the reishi, and also visual data on the robot and outside. And that we use to monitor and compare the growth of the reishi, but also regulate their environment and decide which of the reishi cubes needed the most attention. And because the reishi are light sensitive, they would also grow towards this box because the light would then be above this box with reishi, and that would also give a sort of reflection basically in the fruiting bodies of the mushrooms of how the situation was inside during Zoe. And that we translated in the movements, but also we had these visualizations around this cube. So very short, you see here, you could see how each of the little cubes with the mushrooms was doing. Here we had a real-time data coming out. Here you see them separated, the ones I just said, and here you see the signals we collected in relation to these environmental things. So depending on, it was basically each circle was connected to one part of the data, and then it gets distorted in ratio to the activity of the data and how often this data comes in and how much it differs from the minimum and the maximum that are calculated daily. We also had a live stream to YouTube where you could see it. It's also what we shared in the element chat. And finally, what we did with this data, because it is totally unknown data and we don't know what these signals mean, I tried to see what would happen if I made everyday tactile visualization through data carpets. And that is the signals in relation to the environment. And then you get these kinds of carpets. So that was really short, 2022, my project with VVV. And yeah, that was about it.
Well, I see people there in the people in the notice that they are clapping, but then it goes through the noise cancellation. So take all the compliment as a noise. The noise, and actually the documentation was very, very good. I would like to say one thing though before we go and ask and see if people have a question. Those lovely people in the Node Institute who are the host of the this Zoom call. If somebody is waiting in the waiting list, would you please check and let them in? Thank you very much. And Toby's also clapping on the chat, so that is good. So any questions? Randall, I see on the YouTube, he is happy with the Roshi robot and carpets, and cool installations. Also, you are receiving from the people. Is there any question you would like to ask people from the internet?
It was a very fast overview, so.
Oh my God, pretty nice. I'm reading comments from the.
I hope.
Just throwing random things. Yeah, maybe Noor, would you please? Would be good, like maybe after or during the next presentation, you could drop some links onto the YouTube chat as well as the, I don't know whether the elements or somewhere that people have access to, so they can see more, perhaps like more information about them if you have them somewhere.
Yeah.
Soon I will say interesting projects, beautiful carpets. Have you contacted IKEA? But maybe
I find that the most original proposal so far to sell these carpets.
No, but I mean, they often work with designers and stuff like that. And this would be an interesting project. I would buy one in IKEA.
Thanks.
So on the YouTube chat, we have hello to Costa Rica. And Randall is asking that, are you new in VVV and how long did it take you to do this? I guess referring to...
If I'm not mistaken, Randall had in note this class on ESP with VVV, right? Wasn't that Randall?
I don't think so. I guess that should be Andres, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not. Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways, that was for a big use for fading colors, getting into how to connect VVV to ESP. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty new, but I also work together with Amir, who is not so pretty new. So that I think helps a lot in the process. And yeah, I don't know, Amir, how would you? I would say that you do most of the patching, and I understand what is happening. I can work with it, and I'm working on it to do it myself. But I think in the 1.5 years I'm in it, I'm not I'm not doing it all by myself.
So first, Randall, hello to Costa Rica, not to you, to somebody else who is from Costa Rica. I assume there are more people in Costa Rica than you, Randall. I miss you a lot, by the way. But to answer this question, yeah, so what like for this, the last project, I think I just did some like basic, the boring stuff of the backend programming, and then Noor took over the rest by herself. One of them for the Coral is we're using the simple HTTP request. Sebeskudi is missing today here a great contribution from his side. Also using the Randall's OpenCV for the second project, for the third one, and basically I just like go through these tiny things and build like a few like sort of like simple fundamental, and then Noor did the rest of the patching by herself. And it is actually very funny that if I would not know the process, I would also say that, oh, you have to be like a programmer for years to be able to do that. But there is this software called vvvv that doesn't require you to be much of a programmer in order to do those crazier stuff. So yeah, to answer to this question, I'm just trying to also read the chat. It's a little bit complicated here. Maybe somebody could help me if there's any other question. We could go. Okay, there's also a problem in the chat apparently, but I guess we are having it solved. That everybody who wants to be in the chat is in the chat technically. Am I right?
Yeah, it's fixed.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Any other question? I hope I do still have a connection to the others, because I don't see anything and nothing is happening. Yeah, cool. If there is no other question, Noor, thank you very much for showing those projects. Good job. Sorry?
I will share it.
Yes, please. Yeah, I think this is also my internet. It's a little bit breaking up, so I'm just losing the connection a little bit, but I guess that should be fine. So the next person, oh yeah, I'm still connected. So the next person in my list, I have Chris. I see him. If he would like to let us know what are those fancy pictures coming from Fuse, where do they come from, and when and how people can use them, and what is in the roadmap of the Fuse project. Chris, the stage is yours.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, so I do not have that many fancy visuals, but actually there was a lot of refactoring going on Fuse, so I did a lot updates on the C# code to do a lot of things nicer and to allow actually more patching. So I will just go through some help patches and highlight new features and possibilities. And this is really pretty much work in progress. And some of it just proof of concept. So to start with, this is a ray marcher that before was coded in a shader file. And now we have new features that enable us also to patch this ray marcher and make everything much more modular. So this is an example patch here, and something that comes now new in Fuse and is really working nicely is a for region and also this if region. And with this for and if stuff, you can do things like this ray marcher, which you could not before. So this on the right side is pretty much the code that you see here on the left side as patch. Also the setup as array is patched, and also the call node. And so potentially, for example, this march node could now also be used to, if you have a position in ray marching, to get reflections or refractions or things like this. So currently we focus more on having a nice node set that then allows with not too many nodes express more stuff and get more features in. Yeah, so far to ray marching. So this is something that Kyle is also working on now currently, and ray marching is one of the hotter topics that we will explore in the near future. Yeah, then one other big update that came in is you can now patch geometry shaders, which is really a cool thing that you can do this, because this also allows you to completely patch material extensions, which is something I will come onto later. So in this example, you see basically these are geometry shaders. Yeah, so this, for example, is a point to line shader that you also currently see here in the visual. So if I go into this, you see you can now set up your geometry stage, where you basically set which stream you are currently on. I hope it's not too technical today. It's really a technical presentation, more geeky nerd-like. Yeah, so I hope at least some of you appreciate it. Yeah, but this is more like the fashion I will go to, and hope that some of you guys take something of this. Yeah, and fancy particle shit and stuff will come in another presentation. Yeah, there's a lot of technical ground covered, and so this is the thing to present basically today. Yeah. Yeah, and you can set the vertex count and the input primitive type and what you want to get out to, and then you can basically patch your geometry shader, and you can also patch stuff like, for example, these boxes here. Yeah, so there are different ones, and this one is now, yeah, quite more complex geometry shader, but it still works. So you basically spawn all the quads of the box. There was also an improvement by Tebian, so to really see if the quad is visible, that is also handled. Yeah. Another new thing is that you can now have constant arrays also in Fuse. Yeah, so this is then an array in the shader also that you, for example, in this case, use to have the texture chords or the position for the boxes. Yeah. And it's a lot of these small details also that were added now to like really be able to express everything, because this was like one of the shortcomings in the previous Fuse, that you could not patch everything, and then you ended up with nasty workarounds, which I really wanted to avoid in the current version. Yeah, like basically this geometry node you can then put into a draw shader, yeah, but it also works in a material extension, yeah, and this is what we will come next to. So with material extensions, you can take a normal stride material, and then, for example, plug in a geometry shader, yeah, and then do anything fancy like explode triangles or whatever, and you have all the stages of the material extension basically patchable here, like you generate normals and the pre-transform stage and all of this stuff. This is really more advanced stuff, but it really helps us and maybe also more advanced users to extend the library or build crazy shit. Yeah. So all of this here is really preparation to do more fancy shit. Yeah, but what I can tell so far, it's going a lot faster now. Yeah, so being really productive with this new things. Yeah, another thing that I just did today is fix the vertex displacement. This is also using now this new material extension, yeah, where we here sample the noise and calculate the normal and stuff, and then forward this here into the material extension to then have this vertex displacement that you can see here in the mesh. Yeah. Yeah, then one thing I was looking into is, so in the previous Fuse we have the compute pipeline, and I was already looking into also doing the same thing for textures. And yeah, now it's really, you can really also do compute for textures, not only for buffers. So in this case, it's a game of life, and everything that is needed, you really see here. So if you initialize it, you have these two compute stages. This one, which is just enabled one time to spawn like random values in. And then this is basically doing yeah, the neighborhood sampling, and then counting how many pixels are on and off and setting the other pixel accordingly. Yeah. And so you can really, without writing any shader, you can patch this now. And the idea is you have this attribute, yeah, and the compute system is creating the textures and all of this for you. In this case, it's also handling the texture swap. Yeah, like for a lot of operations, you need a temporary texture also, and then swap between them. And in this system, you can tell the attribute if it's double buffered. Yeah, and then it's creating the secondary texture and also swapping it after it's done. One new thing here is also this neighborhood operation. Yeah, so out of this, there come all the neighbor pixels, either as spread, and then you can directly sum them up, for example, yeah, with this add node, or you can also get the individual neighbors and then make operations like this. Yeah, based on this, there's also I checked some other. So this is getting more complex now. This would be reaction diffusion, which is now also patched, and you see it's handleable like as a patch, yeah. And it yeah, you can do these things now, and I find this pretty interesting. And like here in the compute stage, for example, you also see there's an iteration count, which is something that you want to do with these texture animations. So you can call this multiple times, and then it's executed faster, yeah, depending on your GPU. Yeah, and then I get to the point of a 2D fluid, yeah, to really make proof of concept that this is working. And yeah, I hope that this will also be the base for a new 3D fluid system. Yeah, and it really helps tremendously yeah, because a lot of in this fluid stuff is boilerplate and getting your resources right. Yeah, and in this case, the compute system is doing it all for you. Yeah, and yeah, I've basically implemented here the fluid as a patch, and you see there are these operations. Some people might know them, but they're like Jacobi or divergence and stuff. But I think it all looks pretty clean and nice, and you can now really nicely reuse these nodes. Like here, this is the Jacobi operation using the neighborhood. Yeah, so if you look into these nodes, I really try to design them nice and helpful and understandable. But now it's also to work more with these nodes and create and really see, okay, are they working in other applications as well? Is this generic? But so far, I must say, yeah, it's really going in the right direction, in my opinion. Yeah, and this is the last fluid example, something I prepared today. So this is just a simple expansion. Yeah, so I inject and this is maybe also an example on how the stuff is putting and working together. So in this case, I'm using a 2D SDF, which is here the circle SDF, and I sample it and I draw this one into the texture and spawn kind of some ink here. And then here this gradient sampling, which is also used in the fluid. So this is some kind of reuse of this operator. Yeah, it's then expanding the injected thing into the texture. And then we use the noise operator, which you can also use like in any other kind of scenario here. Yeah, to then modulate this expansion of color into the texture. Yeah. And then here you also get the gradient, so you have the normal. And then here I applied this new vertex displacement material extension, yeah, to then take the textures out of the system. Yeah, so I take the height thing here to displace and then apply the normal, and then you can do stuff like this. Yeah. So it's really getting more and more interoperable, interconnected between all those different states. Yeah. So you can use fluid there in particles, in SDF, in ray marching, blah, 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 blah. And I think this is really now the potential and where Fuse grow, so that you can build complex shit and boil it down and really nicely connect all the things, yeah, and reuse concepts, yeah. I mean, everyone who wrote shaders knows how it is. You copy stuff and you have it at multiple areas, and I think here we really target a nice reusable node set. Yeah, and then maybe to the end, also rework completely the compute system in terms of rendering. And yeah, I think it's far better and more modular and should also be more performant as a consequence of this. So drawing is now handled like before. We were always copying buffers and reading out buffers also for drawing. And now we have a new solution where we basically take the buffer and convert the buffer into a mesh. So this is what you see here. And we basically take all the attributes that we have in the compute system and iterate over them, and then create the vertex declaration for the mesh. And this way we can really directly use the buffer as a mesh in the system. And the cool thing is now, like before, we had to put materials into the renderers to kind of connect all the attributes, yeah, and dissolve them. And now this is not needed anymore, because by default, every attribute is just returning the stream, the shader stream, which is now set in the mesh. And so you can basically quite freely now use all the system, all the attributes of the compute system anywhere in the render stage down to pixel level, yeah, which is really a big advantage over the old system. And as a consequence, rendering really, I think, gets far cleaner, yeah. So this is now the same particle system, and you just have this one buffer to entity, and you feed it a material, yeah. And so the buffer to entity, this is the compute system land, but all the other stuff is not compute system related, but it's just like based on the geometry shaders and materials that I showed before, yeah. And so this is again like one thing where we were able to split things up, make them more reusable, yeah, in many different areas, yeah. And so switching through this material, so this is like the normal point rendering. This is now rendering the particles as lines, yeah. And this is so far in the PBR pipeline with materials, and you see that also the lines can be shaded and have shadows and stuff. There will also be added draw shaders to use render entities and have more custom shading maybe, and also more performant. This is a sphere imposter material. And you see these are all material extension. You could use those sphere imposter thing not only with the compute system, but with any mesh and stride also. Yeah. This is just as sprite, so you have them as size points. Yeah, these are like more volumetric lines. And then, of course, we also have the famous boxes. And you see, it's really not changing anything. And stuff is really, yeah, I can just say I really enjoy working with it already, much more than before. Yeah, and then as one last example, I also started to work on line strips. This is working now, not broken. This seems to wait. Maybe I get it to work. Something is broken here, but yeah, potentially also line rendering is working now.
There's another red pins like on the top.
Yeah, I see. Thanks. Yeah, so here you see. Yeah, so I also started to extend the emitter to line strips. We also have append buffers working, for example, now, so that you can do more complex emission with that. Yeah, and the system, like under the hood, really gets much more flexible. Yeah, and now we'll be looking through the help patches, cleaning stuff up, bringing stuff in the new format. Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully get out a release also soon. Yeah, talking about release, I guess it will be more like a soft release. Yeah, so that you have the old Fuse kind of more stable and the new Fuse already to play with, but we plan to release it also as a NuGet, hopefully in January.
Wow, amazing, Chris. Mind-blowing. And I see you guys did a lot of crazy cool things. And now with what we have seen on your end, lots of heavy lifting to clean up and to go through the details. First of all, maybe you can go to the YouTube and collect all the love and flowers people are leaving there for you. And I think one thing that I personally looking very much forward to see is like as soon as the release is coming out, do you have estimation when will be the soft release, sort of?
Like I said, I think so. I already talked with Step to adjust the deployment. So what we plan is that if you go with VL.Fuse, on the NuGet, you get the old fuse, and if you use -pre, you get the new fuse. Yeah.
Right.
And the old fuse will really just be about fixes and not so much receive any other updates. And this will be mainly focused on the new fuse. But I think it will really take more time, yeah, to stabilize it and have everything together. Yeah, like the last year I really had a lot of time I could dedicate to it. Yeah, I guess we'll get more into projects this year. Yeah. But I would also be excited if some pro users, you know, maybe would like to get involved into certain topics, like someone wants to take over fluid development, yeah, or geometry shaders, or look into texture FX, blah blah blah, whatever you were up on, yeah, or Kinect integration. Yeah, happy to give you introductions and help you to get stuff done or in. Or also like project related, if you think you want to use a new fuse, I'm happy to have a chat and see if it's feasible or if you stick with the old or with another solution.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And yeah, for everybody else, you heard it. The call is out. If you want to jump on board, go ahead and do so. Thank you very much, Chris, and great job. Keep up with the good work, and we are looking very much forward to see more and more. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
is there any question from the crowd? Is there any particular thing that somebody wants to address as long as we have Chris unmuted here? I think it just needs a bit of time until you will get with the you will get fed up with the questions. But maybe we can check the YouTube chat also. I see that there are a lot of positive reactions over there as well. Thank you so much, Chris. Okay, so next on my list is finally Alekei, and thank you very much for joining first of all. I know there's also a little bit of a frame difference, and thanks for your patience. And the stage is yours. Show us what you have been working on and what you have for us.
Yes, I have. As I told, I have some project, but first of all, I try to thanks to Chris and the Fuse people, because in one belly, Black Garden, I use Fuse particles, and I think I can show it. Okay. This is a PLI render or PLI scan from this is a tree. And I just create sorry, in that days I learned Fuse particles and decided to work with them. It was a bit challenging, but I really got I think nice result. The play was on recorded early, and I can work in a lot of for dancers. Oh, sorry. And I use a MIDI device for change some particle system, some parameters, and also I use just three. This is barely about it called name Black Garden. Is a documentary play based on the memories of child eyewitnesses of the first war in Nagorno-Karabakh more than 30 years ago. Karabakh means Black Garden in Turkey, and we decided to use a tree and particle system like a symbol for changes, because the world of changes, but trees always grow. And and I think that's all about this belly. I just try speak fast, and it was a second belly what I created, and the first belly was in Fanta by Oscar Wilde, and in Fanta, I created just old vvv stuff, used old vvv stuff. And may show something. It's like a small teaser. This belly.
Alexei, just so you know, we don't have the audio of your computer. I don't know if it's your tension. Is it? Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I think I sent some links to the YouTube chat and just try to explain something about the videos. In this belly, I decided to use Kinect data, but we considered it was too complicated, hanging cameras on the stage, and we just recorded some point cloud data and I worked with it. On the play, we use projection on the floor and the back screen. I use a fluid system for floor, but I did it something like this because we canceled all cameras. Yeah, I just sit in the control room and point my finger where dancer it was. It was a start, and I can show you. This part you can see it's just recorded point cloud data because we don't have some cameras on the stage, and I don't know why you can see the sound because sound is pretty good. Okay, and this is old VV beta, and I create the project real time, but in this case I use later I use some recorded stuff from VV Gamma, VL.Fuse tools, when dancers connected to Infanta place.
Excuse me, if you stop sharing your screen and then share it again and then click use computer audio,
okay,
then there will be should be sound.
Okay, sorry. Stop share screen.
And share it again.
Advanced computer audio.
Lower left corner, I think.
Yeah, I share. I share it again, and let's try to check. Okay.
But I don't see your screen. Maybe that's from my side, or?
Oh, okay.
No, because now we have audio, but not the, but not this. Yeah, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Share sound. I think now you can see the screen.
Yeah.
And can hear
amazing
sound. Yeah. Yes. This part I created in VV Gamma and recorded just like OBS and take a video to VV Beta for this. and this part I like VJ stuff and real time, and this is a techno party, and I decided to save this function for me, and I use MIDI controller for real-time control quads and lines. This just a simple feature because dancer is the main part of the show, of course, and I don't want to create a big fancy projection on this moment, and just a simple triangles and lines. But we create a slow-mo effect because I know I can take a speed and light this, and I think something like this about this project. And the last project. One moment, I found it was the last project that was opening performance on Present Perfect Festival, and open performance by Vladimir Varnava and musician Noko for this, and I used VV Gamma for create some simple animation on these models. As you can see, you just a screen for us, but we hanging some models separately, and we recorded some dancers for 2 acts, like a rest for the light, because if I can find yes, I found it. It's look something like this. It's too bright. Or this. And of course, time everything want to want to rest from the light, and we use a screen, LED screen on the behind the stage for show some bodies, I think, and this is this I create a visualization into Stripe, because I create some effects at home, and in the rehearsal we just check some effects and create a timeline, but we don't use timeline for this. I just take my MIDI controllers and VJ for this performance. I think that's all.
Wow. Great job. Thank you very much. Amazing projects. I would really appreciate it if you drop us some links afterwards, so we can also see the full videos with like with the better sound quality as well, because also the internet was not really, and I think like, of course, those performances, you have to be in the performance to feel everything there. But
Yeah.
I'm really impressed by all the visuals and the effort that you put in there. So if I'm not mistaken, for two of the projects you were using Gamma, and for one of them you were using vvvv.
Yes, I use vvvv in Infanta. Yeah, because it was the first project with Belly, and I was a bit scary about Gamma that time, but after that, when I deep dive to Fuse and Gamma, I decided to use VL for another project, and when I created Black Garden and everything was great, I just continue use VL, and
it is a fact that once you open Gamma, it's really hard to open Beta afterwards. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe the gray is not dark enough, but yeah. So thank you very much, Alexei. That was amazing. I'm wondering if there is question. So first of all, you're receiving some comments on YouTube. Go check them. Go collect your flowers. And if there is a question from the crowd, or whether those people that they are in the Node Institute. Beside that, I'm personally looking forward to see more and more from you, Alexei. Great job. If there is no question, we would like to go. I think we might have one or two more people, or I don't know if like one person with two computers. I see that Alex's name there, but he's sitting in the back, or I don't really see who is sitting over there. Hi, Alex. I'm leaving it. Oh, hey, there we go. And now I see the Node Institute, the Node Institute's computer. But anyways, okay. So if there's no question, we go to the Node Institute, and then we will see who is going to present there. And the stage is yours, guys, over the Node Institute. Hello, Berlin.
Hello, it's David. I'm on Alex's computer, so
yeah. I see David on Alex's computer with the tag name of the Node Institute. Amazing. And your sound is, by the way, very good. Thank you very much for taking care of it.
Yeah, I have this huge microphone here, so
like very crisp. Nice.
So let me share my screen. I hope it's readable. I'm showing something I made with Imgui, and the font size is fixed. So
you mean if it's human readable?
Is it? Does anyone can see it? Otherwise, I have to explain everything, and read it to you. Elias, bigger font pixel.
Feature request on the fly.
So,
no, I see the font. I couldn't. Well, I see it JSON. I mean, I cannot compile it by my eyes, but
okay. I'm just going to talk about it a bit. I think it was in December when I got interested in stuff with ChatGPT, and I started making a application in V4, also using Imgui. And then I kind of lost interest in that, and I switched my hobby, and I made this. Basically, I started this 10 years ago. I think it's quite cool how quickly we can make applications now, like boring applications, but still with Imgui and channels. I think that's the main thing. It's really quite easy and fun now to just making applications like this. So together with a friend of mine, hey Gorgi, hope he's watching. So we got interested in stable diffusion. So basically this open source machine learning tool for generating images. So you have text to image and image to image. So since a few weeks, we started to kind of explore the possibilities, and there's so many things you can tune, and there's the different text you can input, different prompts. there's different parameters like strength, there's different models you can use, and there's embeddings and hypernetworks, and it's a whole new world. So we quickly realized that it would be useful to have like a batch processing for images, where you can just generate lots of images with different parameters, different prompts. And so this idea came up, and in my mind, it was just like a day or two in V4, and then we have this batch generating program. That's also where the name is coming from. It initially started generating YAML files, so now it's the perfect name in the sense that it's not really telling what it's doing. So
how do you pronounce it?
No one spoke that name before, so you can be the first. It's okay. Let's leave it at that. Yeah. So well, that's how it started, and I got really into it. And every day I thought there's a new idea and a new small feature I wanted to add. This is what you get. It's basically just lots of JSON objects now. And those will be sent to a backend server where they will be processed and you get the image back. So let's go through this quickly. I hope I'm not boring you with this business app looking thing. So here you can define the amount of images you want to have generated, and you can set a random seed for the generation, and you also have to define an input image. So I choose an image of me. It's, I think, the best choice. I wouldn't want to do this to anyone else. So so here it's a bit interactive as well. So let's go through this. We have a list of artists' styles, let's say, and you can say, okay, let's take surrealism, for example, and now we have these artists added. Yeah, so it's 43 artists, and there's a text file with a random list of some subjects or characters to choose from, and those are here. So I saw Marge Simpson. You can select them here, and they will be added in this field one after another. And those will be selected for these JSON objects that will be created. So if you have more than one character, they will be divided throughout all the objects. So for now, if anyone wants to suggest a character that we want to make. Otherwise, here's, okay, for this case, there's this random button.
I thought we could just stay with the minions, but yeah. Anyways, your presentation.
We said we want to have 50 objects generated, yeah? And now we have some artists and we have some characters. And there's more we can do. We can add some negative prompts. So for Stable Diffusion understands what you want inside the prompt. And it also tries to account for things where you say, I'm not really interested. So this could be things like ugly or blurry. People are going crazy with this prompting stuff. It's like people write like pages of prompts for having an image generated. So that's also one of the reasons why we try to get behind this with doing lots of images and to have some kind of control. Okay, so there's weighting. For each prompt you can have you can set a weight. So here we have a slider for this and say for the artist we want to have this weight, and so you can add additional prompts and you can set the weight for that here. Here there's sliders with a range where you can say, okay, we want to start with a range of 5 and end up with 10. So this will be distributed throughout all these objects. So we can have some kind of linear test where you see, this is how it behaves when you add when you scale some parameters. Same thing for the strength. This will define, in this case, we have an input image, how much the input image will have an effect on the outcome image. So we can start with 0.3, let's say, and end up with something really high, 0.85. So here steps is the amount of diffusion steps the stable diffusion algorithm will go through to generate an image from the noise that we start with. So here filters, that's some specific pre-processing we are planning to do on our server. So we have right now we have a Google Cloud Compute server as a backend where we can do some pre or post processing for the images. This case is just contrast and blur. So when we are happy, any last artists to add? Artist names? No, not really. No. Okay. So when we are happy with this, we can say we can give this JSON file a name here and write it to a file. Let's hope this works. Here in this tab, we have a drop down where we find the JSON we just generated. And now we can say how many images we want to get produced from this JSON. There's 50 in total. Let's not be crazy here and start with 10 maybe. By the way, the exciting part of the whole presentation is this might just not work in the end. So I think that's really important to say. It worked one time before, and that was today, and that's why I'm late also. So sorry. So here we have some kind of, do you really want to do this view? Here's progress view, not really if this is going to work. Before we can click on this generate button, we could pray, of course, but we also have this, I put in this funny fail-safe checkbox. So we can't just click it accidentally and generate 1,000 images because we're planning to, I don't know, maybe make 500 images in one batch. Mm-hmm. So you should be really sure before you click this. It's like I don't know, submarine or something. So let's click it now.
Too late.
There's
gonna be a pop-up asking, are you really sure?
Okay. So okay, here's something happening now. So
it was never in progress, only completed.
That's not working yet. Yeah. So what happened? I don't know. So right now the completed states tells you that the server understood what we wanted to do, but it
doesn't care.
Does not give yet the response that the image is done. So what I'm doing here is wait a bit, and then we can click on, maybe we can click on download, and then it will try to poll the images. It gets the image URLs, and now it's trying to download those, and I see something happened in the corner. So I made an image viewer to have a look at the images. So it all looks really boring, yeah. So sorry. But the image viewer is quite cool. You can click on full screen and you can rate the image. So you can say that's nice, I like it. Yeah? Or I can say something went wrong here, so you click it. Click on this button. So the idea is that you can quickly. What am I looking for? Here's a folder with the good stuff and the bad stuff, and so those files will be. Oh, there's already something hiding here. So this is what that button is for. So basically, we generate all these badges, and then we decide if we like the image or not. So this all looks super boring, I have to admit. So let's try.
It's supposed to look surrealistic.
Yes, but it's all in the eye of the beholder. So it's basically art. Yeah.
But wait, was it actually a real picture of you, or it was a picture from right now you took and that's why it generated, or that was the picture from back in days when you were younger?
You guessed it. Yes. Yeah. That's me. In my best years.
Is that really surreal, or was that the real picture?
Let's give it another try and make the strength a bit higher. So this is untested. Yeah. Now we go from, that's not what I want. So we have more strength now, and we make a new JSON. So everyone's praying and hoping that it's working.
Choose the JSON. Huh?
Thanks. That's for what this button is for here.
You already learned how to.
Okay, now let's.
Get around the button.
Is there exclamation mark?
So let's go for 50 images now.
Done.
Okay.
So let's look at the last one. Never complete. Must be interesting.
Not sure what's happening there with this one. So let's try to download the new images. So it looks like we're getting something on the other end of the spectrum where it's like a bit too much. That's what we made this tool for. So okay. Oops. Yeah. So I have no idea.
What a transition.
Do you know what you changed?
Basically, I increased the strength. So when you're using image to image, you say how much the input image should influence the output image. And if you have a higher strength, the prompt will have more weight, and it just goes crazy and does whatever the prompt says. In this case, the prompt is something like portrait of, and then our random characters by our random artists. So that's also what we're doing. We write all the prompt and the parameters inside of the file name, and they will get super long, like 200 characters. But this way we have the possibility to check the file name and see what was here. Everyone can read this probably, huh? Yeah. Yeah, so that's the idea. So we should have more images, basically.
It's getting better and better. So one of the questions that, since you mentioned, so you said that you have image to image, and also you have text to text or text to image, or is only something like image based?
Yeah, so the standard way to use it is text to image. So you have a prompt. Yeah, let's go through some images. I have a random functionality, so we can just do this. Is it big enough?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, basically the normal way is a text to image, but it's also super interesting to see how the image to image is working. And yep, it's one more variation or one more source of almost infinite possibilities. It's not infinite, but it's super big. What you can do with this. And a few months ago, when I looked at all this stable diffusion stuff, it seemed interesting to me, but since let's say since a month or so, I really have this idea that it's becoming so good and so diverse, and it's not really possible to tell anymore if it was generated by this algorithm. There's also other tools like Midjourney that are like super convincing in what they're doing. So I think it's about time that everyone is having a look at what it's doing. So these images are not really, it's kind of a random selection of stuff. So there might be interesting, funny, grotesque things in it. It's not meant to be like most beautiful results or most convincing things that were happening, but yeah. Yeah, we got hooked on this thing and experimenting with it and trying to build something out of it. We're not quite sure what to do, but yeah, this is what we're doing. How about the time? Are we done here?
I mean, you could try to get 500 more images.
Yeah, no one wanted to suggest hello. Any artists, or yeah, now you're thinking, wow, shit, we should have been more involved in this thing nowadays.
No, that's amazing. That's really good. So one question is that the first question that comes to mind is like this application that we are seeing here is not available for everyone. So it's not something that it isn't something that you released or something, or is it somewhere?
So yeah, basically it's the idea was just to make this for easier image generation. So
yeah,
if someone is interested in this tool, have a look at it, how it's made, let me know. Otherwise I would probably just always do something within it and then just abandon it like all the other hobby projects.
Yeah, maybe like please before abandoning it, like I don't know, like maybe it's very much like image oriented, but if you manage to have something, or next time you're talking to chat GPT or whatever, maybe do me a favor and ask how to pronounce the name of this app.
You can give it a try, Amir. You're welcome. Yeah. Huh? You're welcome to give it a try. So one thing about this app, if someone is interested, it will not work with the image generation, because sometimes we have an instance running, sometimes not, and it's also when you have a GPU worker in the cloud, you have to pay for it for the time you're using it. So so if someone wants to make images with it, you could rewrite it a little bit and have maybe your own backend, or you can have a local version of a stable diffusion backend running, something like automatic, or what we are using right now is called Invoke AI. So there's different tools and they have an API, and then you just ask the thing to generate an image for you, and then you can have all the fun that we are having. Yeah,
so I already see the first request is that the random like you would love to take a look at it. And to answer the other question, yeah, that's a GUI. That's ImGUI. If you're familiar.
Yeah, did we talk enough about ImGUI today? I think it's really just super cool to make something like this with it.
Can we have a look at the patch?
Yes,
Like,
it's a bit messy, but
okay.
of course it is. But
It's, you're saying it's clean to build apps or easy or what?
it's fun, and it's kind of a flow that reminds of beta usage. Really, I think the most annoying part is now doing stuff like this. Yeah. But as soon as you have your model and so your types and you're using channels with Imgui, it's just super easy to connect those to an Imgui widget and basically use it from anywhere you want. So okay, I can quickly go through it. What I'm like to do is using singletons for my state, and then wherever I am in the GUI, now we have this kind of 4 tabs. So this is where the JSON is being created, and so here are some kind of collected widgets. So we have to go a bit inside, but basically this is the whole magic. So we have this singleton that you get, and you get the channel. Then you can select a property from the channel. Sometimes you might want to set the value in between, but otherwise you just put it here directly, and then you're done. So that's the cool thing, I guess.
So everything is done with this select by path,
Mm-hmm.
and so one big record or whatever path, and with
yeah, this is
properties, and it's
yeah
just, by this node it's written back into
yeah.
this.
Sometimes there's some more logic to it, and also I think this is when the fun stops. Is when your model grows so big that it's just then that you have to split it up in several models, and then it's like starting to feel like work again, maybe. But I think there's some lots of room for using this pattern and using this kind of Imgui and channel thing. And I'm not even using the model editor right now. I think that's also something that will make it even easier if you plan your models a bit better. Then it will be even more fun. Yeah, basically this whole app and how I'm working on it, I try to keep it clean, but there's some really messy stuff as well. So things that happened today, they look like this. So that's not really what you want. Yeah, so someone has to take care of this. So that's the image viewer. And this might, if you want to see messy patches, this is where the requests are generated. Also this. So yeah, let's hope someone comes up along and cleans this up. Who was interested, Amir? What did you say?
On YouTube, there is some, I don't know that person.
YouTuber.
They say they are random like you is their name, and then they are very much enthusiastic and suggested. They suggest that you should definitely use such a thing. Or the last one is like a local stable diffusion version for Gamma as a GUI would be amazing.
Yes.
It would increase the user of VV Gamma for sure too.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, generally the idea to bring all these machine learning things a bit closer to we would be cool. Yeah.
Great. Yes, amazing. Thank you very much. This is really cool. Well, technically we said that the event is going to be 2 hours. We have 2 minutes until 10 o'clock when we finish the 2 hours. I don't know if there's any other person who is going to show something. I still see Alex's computer there, but I do think that you just switched computers. So Alex, are you going to show something? No. Okay, so that is I take it as a no. Amazing. Oh, by the way, Sunab suggesting that he's suggesting I think there is a new standard picture like a clean picture image, it could be shipped along with vvvv as other assets. That would be that would be one of those funny ones that we could see there. Cool. Great stuff again from Randall. That was amazing. I don't know. I take it as a no when I asked if somebody else is going to show something. I didn't hear any feedback, so I guess we had so many great presentations today. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much. And one shout out to Kirel, who is, I don't know if he's watching or he's not watching, or maybe he will watch later. Thank you for the heads up to keep the audio quality. This is something that just slips out of the hand sometimes. He gave us this heads up that we should focus a little bit more, because we know that the meetup is so much fun when we are doing it right now, but afterwards when you're watching it on YouTube, you expect to have some sort of a higher quality, and we are taking care of that one as well, which brings me to the fact that I should thank the Node Institute, David, Maxim, and Sebastian, who were changing the infrastructure over there, and thank you very much for taking care of things there. You're doing an amazing job. And the other thing is that, yeah, as you know, that we are doing these meetups in a hybrid version. So it means that it is local and it is on the internet as well. So if you're somewhere in your city or your country and you have more users, like for example, in Costa Rica, Randall could find the friends that they're in Costa Rica and then they can gather together. You're most welcome. Get a bucket of popcorn, watch things together and have fun. We are looking very much forward to see more of the projects. We are trying to do this meetup every month. If you have contributions, just let us know, and you're most welcome to see super casual space, and we can share what we have and keep this warmth of the community growing and keep it constant and continuous. If there is no any other input, I again thank you very much. I again say happy birthday again once more to the VVV community and the developers. It's been 20 amazing years and looking forward to see the next 20 years ahead. If there's nothing else, we just say goodbye and we call it. Have fun and keep up with the good work. Woo! Amazing. Have a good one. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
End the stream.
Schaffen wir auch mal online.